The turn of the 20th century saw the United States of America emerge on the global stage, a modern superpower clawing away territory and influence as the old European empires of the previous 400 years began to implode under their own weight. The Spanish-American War had established America's military might and made them an empirical force, and the new money robber barons of America's Gilded Age challenged the old money establishment in Europe in wealth and opulence. With the mineral and manufacturing wealth of the New World, along with an ever-expanding population and still developing benefits of democratic capitalism, the image of the plucky American upstart that Mark Twain had sold the world was finally manifesting. Professional wrestling was moving at pace with the country, having been its most popular pastime since the Civil War. Catch-as-catch-can wrestling was booming business across an ever-widening country, and as the century rolled over, a man who represented America, working class, brash, ruthless, and always looking to make a buck, was set to take the seat of the old world's greatest physical specimen, a learned gentleman of discipline and renown who perhaps lacked the determination and grit of an Iowa farm boy. These are the stories of Frank Gotch and Gotch Hackenschmidt, and the world's first proper world champion. All right, gang, welcome back to Catch Chronicles. I'm here with my good friend Javi. We got Jimmy on the board. We're in sunny Calgary. It's hot like a motherfucker out there.
Finally.
It's like 26 degrees. Luckily, I get to fly into the rain tomorrow. Today, we're going to start a 3-part series on the birth of the modern world champion. You know what? The only real legitimate wrestling world championship. Legitimate wrestling world championship.
I was gonna say.
I said that with a straight face.
You can act.
Gotch Hackenschmidt, the Ali Frazier of wrestling, the most important wrestling matches, some of the biggest drawing wrestling matches that ever occurred, and theoretically legit matches. But first, we're gonna do some profiles today. We're gonna talk about the Russian Lion, Gotch Hackenschmidt, one of the most dominant wrestlers that ever lived. Despite being someone who, I'm not even sure how much he really liked it. Born in Estonia in 1877, but at the time it was just Russia.
Russia, right?
Part of the Russian Empire.
Because Hackenschmidt, this is where the hack squat comes from.
This is where the hack. So this guy, in theory, invented the hack squat, popularized the bench press.
Right.
One of the great physical culturists.
Yeah.
Of all time.
He set a new standard for what it was to be physical in his age.
Yeah, and very much a proto dietitian. Just an all around athletic freak. And apparently his parents were very normal sized, kind of just general people. They're probably in shape, they're probably laborers, farmers, whatever.
Sure.
Swedish German parents, but he's very much I'm a Russian, at least until the time when he does anything but live in Russia. Like anything to not live in Russia. But as we'll get into, who wouldn't have gotten out of Russia at this point? Or Germany? So he's born in the Russian Empire.
1877.
1877. So a volatile time in Europe.
Okay.
And he's living in Estonia, which is on the Baltic Sea. So it's kind of across from Finland and Sweden. It borders Latvia. The elements of this area will make a man out of it. You know what I mean? It's a harsh conditions,
right?
Especially if you're doing agricultural work. It's not the best place for agricultural work, but I mean, we live in Alberta. It's very similar climate, except for we're dry and they're wet.
Right.
As a teen, he's grown up. He's doing everything. Can't get enough of athletics. He's cycling. He's doing track and field. He's doing weight training. As a teenager, he's got this kind of folk hero presence especially in like Estonian culture, where they have all these stories about the incredible feats of strength. Like he's lifting a small horse off the ground as a schoolboy. You know what I mean? As a teenager, he's hand pressing 275 over his head. Where it's like, so what exactly did they have that weighed 275 pounds that they knew weighed 270? What was he pressing? Did they weigh a man and he picked him up by the belt over his head? Like where
Farm
was he
equipment or
getting?
something,
Yeah, like I lifted the whole tractor. He's doing gymnastics. He's playing this game that I would love to try. That I just found out about researching this, called Gorotki, which is like bowling. So they set up pins at the end of a lane or at the end of the yard or something. But instead of rolling a ball, you just huck a fucking bat at it.
That sounds like fun.
That sounds so much fun. That's like axe throwing and bowling in one.
Yeah.
I think we should open a Gorotki gym.
And axe throwing.
Yeah.
Axe throwing on one side.
Axe throwing's old hat.
It's true, everyone's done axe throwing.
And I'm a little afraid of it.
You should be.
I'm a little afraid of drinking a half dozen beers and then putting an axe in my own chin because I don't know how to throw because I'm not an athlete. But a bat, I'll throw a bat. I could take a blow from a bat. That's fine. I've taken a blow from a bat before.
Yes.
So he's this kind of freak in his hometown who's got all of this physical potential, but he's still like he's a dude. So he's out of school. He's apprenticing to be a blacksmith. And then he's starting to get into Greco-Roman wrestling, right, which is, the popular wrestling of the time. And most of the 20th century is kind of like the dominant form of wrestling after Ketch kind of gets so destroyed by illegitimate worked professional wrestling, right? Yes. And he's going about his life kind of as a normal, toughest, strongest boy in town. But he's no superstar. Nobody's seeing anything in him until this guy named George Lurick comes to town, who is this like pretty famous strongman in his own right, who's also got all these. He became like a folk hero, and he was an Olympian, I believe. He comes to town, makes an open challenge for wrestling, and Hack accepts and like nearly takes him, which is something that we're gonna see. There's so many parallels between Hackenschmidt and Gotch, but this is kind of Hackenschmidt loses the fight,
yeah,
but he does like enough of a showing that he gets Lurick's respect, and he starts to think, I could probably make a career in wrestling, which sounds a lot more fun than hammering an anvil.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Because the only thing that a blacksmith means to me is Game of Thrones.
That's it. What else
hammering an anvil, maybe making a ring of power. Those are the only things and horseshoes. But I feel like the farrier does that, or does the farrier just fit the horseshoes?
I think it just fits the horseshoes.
Oh,
the blacksmith makes the horseshoes.
God, there's a whole cottage industry. And then through like some miracle happenstance, Hackenschmidt meets this guy named Dr. Krajewski, who's the personal physician to the Tsar, and he's another avid physical culturist. So he's a big-time weightlifter and wrestler.
Weightlifting's got to be a little bit different in this time as well.
Very
right?
different. It's brand new.
Yeah.
It's brand new.
Because even, man, how far do you have to go back before? Because it wasn't that long ago that people were saying don't lift weights. Like, you lift weights only if you want to look at yourself in the mirror. Like, it's this whole vanity.
Yeah.
Like, it wasn't thought as a health thing for quite some time.
Yeah, it was a pure vanity thing and, like, somewhat destructive. And it's still, it is, if you don't do it right.
Or even if,
like
if you do it right and do it enough. Like, if you get to a certain size, you will shorten your life by being bigger.
Yeah. Yeah, it's hard on your heart.
Exactly.
Yeah. So this is like kind of a brand new like circus strongmen are like that's who it is.
That's really right.
And you generally look at these guys and they don't look like what we would think of as a weightlifter.
Yeah.
They're just big strong boys.
Yeah.
With awesome fucking mustaches. Maybe a cool little hat. And he meets this, and you got also like, it's kind of weird not having a map in front of you, but Estonia is quite close to St. Petersburg, which is like the capital city of Russia. And you would I feel like a lot of people don't think of St. Petersburg as being where it is, because it's really quite close to the Baltic Sea.
I see.
So this guy, this Dr. Krajewski, is the personal physician to the Tsar. He's a very important man.
Big dude.
He's top doctor, right? He's like Dr. Oz, but he's fucking worth listening to. I would have loved to see this Dr. Krajewski's daytime TV show. It would have been awesome. See him on Oprah.
Breaking chairs over people.
So he treats Hackenschmidt and then sees what an incredible physical specimen this guy is. And he's like, listen, you're coming with me, and we're going to make you the greatest weightlifter and the greatest wrestler ever. Like, he like sees it in him. He's like, we're going to do both. Right. You're capable of doing both. And he pretty quickly does. So he sends Hackenschmidt to Riga. He sends him away to get some experience under another name, which is some awesome old school carny wrestling shit, right? Just leave town, go to a different territory, learn a new hold.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like, we're gonna send you out under an assumed name.
You're gonna level up. You're gonna
and you're gonna get real good. It's like Robert Johnson. You know, Robert Johnson was like the worst slide guitar player in the Delta. And then he left for 6 months, and he came back, and he was the greatest guitar player who ever lived. And that's why everyone thought he sold his soul to the devil. Right. It's like, no, he just had to go out of town and fuck up enough and learn from the right people. And he came home, and he was the best, right? And that's kind of what Dr. Krajewski does with Hackenschmidt. Sends him away to Riga, learns a couple new holds, brings him to St. Petersburg to train him in Greco-Roman, and then pretty much, like, over the next few years, Hackenschmidt starts setting all the world records, right? Which, I mean, clearly do not stand anymore, as world records do. World records don't last, generally. You know what I mean? Like, once one person can do the 500 meters in 55 seconds, everybody can next year, right?
It's kind of insane.
Once one person can do, like, skateboarding. Yeah. Like, so, like, once the skaters saw Tony Hawk do something that everyone thought was impossible, next year, half the skaters at the show can do it, right? At the demo.
It's so crazy how life works.
Yeah, that's the most important thing about sports is that it's inspiring to push human capability, right? Like
see what we can do, right?
Yeah, like I don't like sports really for the most part. Like I'll watch a basketball game or a fight or something, but like I do I respect the idea that like
human potential,
and like human limitation,
right,
is constantly defied in sport.
When you think about what Tom Brady did in terms of how many intense moments he was just calm and just did the fucking thing he had to do, to me
it's the Gretzky thing too, right?
Gretzky,
like,
sure.
What makes Gretzky great is that he's cool under pressure, and he's just 5 steps ahead.
That's it.
You know, it's chess.
Yeah.
Everything is chess when you get down to it.
The best example of what you mentioned that I love is the 4-minute mile.
Yeah, the 4-minute mile.
Perfect example.
Done like 300 times.
Yeah. That's such a perfect example.
Yeah, because nobody believed you could do it. You need that one dude who takes a little LSD.
Yeah, just fucking.
And then. And then he
he
sees the potential.
And then just fucking.
And then if you see it, you can do it.
Yeah.
So he's training Greco-Roman, hanging out with the world's most important doctor. And setting world records for weightlifting. And he's a chiseled beast. If you see George Hackenschmidt now, he doesn't look like, he wouldn't win Mr. Olympia now.
Yeah.
But he would then. But, oh, no, he's not alive.
No.
He's been dead a long time.
Yeah.
Born in 1877.
Like my math's bad, but it's not that bad. They can't be right.
It's early, boys. It's early.
Yeah.
So he's setting these weightlifting records. He looks like a brick shithouse. He's ripped to shreds. He's not big. Like I think he's 5'8". Okay. 5'9".
Which apparently, from what I understand, is actually better for weightlifting. You don't want to be taller for a lot of those things because you actually have like longer, like I don't know. Apparently, being shorter for weightlifting is a good thing. It's
also one of the, like my brother's like 5'3",
right.
5'4", 145 pounds, and at one point he could bench like 325, 350. and which is incredible.
That's insane.
But like my dad's favorite thing to say about it would just be like, well, of course his arms are this big. It's barely even a bench. It's like, all right, give him something. Let's see you do it, old man. But yeah, so he's 5'9", 200. He's not like a towering. He's not the mountain.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But he's just a freak athlete. And in 1898, so he's barely been at this wrestling thing, right? Like in the long run, and realistically, what do you think about it? It's not like he's I took my first wrestling class when I was 12. No. He becomes European champion. They call it world champion, but as we'll discuss later, I mean, it's all these world tournaments that he's winning are European tournaments. That maybe we'll have like Turkish guys or an Indian guy or something like empire adjacent.
Sure.
Athletes. Yeah, he's taking all these dudes. I mean, particularly Michael Hitzler, who certainly has changed his name. I bet his descendants are O'Briens now.
Yeah, something like
you know
that.
What I mean? Yeah. McGillicuddies.
Yeah.
A lot of McGillicuddies. Not a lot of Hitzlers left in the old family tree. If John Cleese didn't want to be John Cheese, I promise this guy did not want to be Michael Hitzler.
Did he change his name?
Yeah, John Cleese's family name is actually Cheese. And his dad changed it, which John Cleese was always like, well, as a comedian, it might have worked out for me. Blake Cheese. It's got a ring to it.
It's got something to it. I don't know if it's a ring.
It's got a ring around it. Yeah, so he's, of course, at the time, he's got compulsory military service, but he's the protege of the Tsar's doctor, so that doesn't really he gets out pretty quick, right?
Okay.
So he's not at risk for any of these weird Russo-Japanese war or any. Well, I don't really know what war Russia is in at the turn of the century, but they're in one. They're always in one. They have too much land not to be in a war. And he's also like, it's good. He's more useful to the Russian state as a representative of Russia.
Yes, of course.
Who's dominating everything than being a guy who might get blown to bits for fucking nothing, right? So
Because war is stupid.
War. What is it good for? So turn of the century, he starts to kind of focus. He's getting all these freak injuries because he's trying to lift things that people shouldn't lift. So he gives that up. He still does like demonstrations, photo shoots, tours, but he's not trying to set any more records.
So it's strongman demonstrations. Is that kind of like in terms of what exactly do you mean by demonstrations there? Like
kind of carny shit, right?
Okay.
Like so, like you'd fill a theater, and a man would come out in a bikini bottom, and lift up things, and people would clap. You know what I mean? Because
and now we have the internet.
Now we have the internet. So bikini bottoms have a whole different meaning.
Still around just as much.
Still around just as much. Still just a lot of ripped dudes.
Yeah. It's all about the male.
Yeah.
Isn't that why you watch wrestling, basically? Just the male form?
I'm in it for the pageantry. I don't like when they do dangerous things. It makes me scared. I woke my girlfriend up in bed watching Raw the other day because Chad Gable took a bad pile driver, and I went, "Oh!" And she woke up so mad.
I mean, fair.
Yeah, no, I was like, "Oh, I'm sorry, baby. It was really scary."
The wrestling.
My wife wakes me up watching porn.
Yeah. Then I was worried about a wrestling move.
Fair.
I thought I watched a man get paralyzed.
That would be terrifying.
But he's a beast and he got back up. It was fine.
Okay.
So he's more focusing on kind of brand building and winning tournaments now. He's doing wrestling. And the wrestling tournaments at the time are just insane. In 1900, he enters a 40-day round-robin tournament in Moscow. He competes in 2 weight classes. So he competes at his weight and a weight above, wins them both. This is multiple matches a day, right?
40-day.
40-day tournament with multiple matches a day most days.
I do a lot of wrestling, and I just can't imagine what the fuck
No.
that would be like.
And he's barely 20, right? He's got a lot of rejuvenative.
Rejuvenative?
He's recovering quickly.
You're invincible at that age.
Yeah,
For sure.
but that's still an unbelievable pace to cut, and everyone he's wrestling is bigger than him, right? It's kind of like that Kurt Angle in the Olympics in '96 thing, where like he's got Paul Pons who's 6'4", and Halil Adali who's 6'6", Laurent Le Bourdiquois, who's got 65 pounds on him, and Hack's beating them all, right?
And I mean, height is one thing, because height can actually be a disadvantage in wrestling.
Yeah.
But weight is weight.
Yeah.
Like, weight's a huge advantage
Weight
in
is
wrestling.
65 pounds, right? Like, that's like pride shit.
That's
You know what I mean? But these guys aren't just like a big fat dude who doesn't know anything.
No.
These are dudes who are champion wrestlers. And he takes them all, wins that tournament. He does a 1901 tournament with 130 wrestlers. He wins that. Now he's the world champion, right? Which is still a European title. But like, you know what? If you win a 130-man tournament, sure.
I think give it to him.
You're the world champ.
Come on, man.
You're the world
That's
champ.
gotta be kind of a weird thing about wrestling as well, is there is no official, like, it must have been difficult to make a belt mean something. It's like when you say the world title, as you say, it's like if that doesn't have the prestige or the backing for, if that.
There's no like major governing body,
Exactly.
like say in boxing,
Well,
like,
that's the problem with boxing, is that there's 19 governing bodies and no.
well, I suppose the undisputed heavyweight champ is like,
there is not.
Yeah.
Is the guy who has 4.
Yeah.
Is
Yeah,
that?
but-
Undisputed means is
you have all 4 of
But
the major
that changed,
titles.
like
but,
that wasn't the way it always was. That's just a weird fucking.
yeah,
that's
and on
very,
any
very,
given
very
day,
fun.
a 5th one can pop up.
That's what I'm saying, exactly. And all of a sudden,
One is you have a UFC situation where they decide who fights for the title, whereas it gives more guys opportunities.
Yeah.
They're not having to just, if the organization doesn't like you, you're fucked. You can't fight.
that
for
is,
title.
I mean,
Yeah.
the monopoly that the UFC has
But it does
is.
often lead to meaning you don't know who the real champion
Yeah,
is.
it's hard to know who the pound for pound best fighter in the
Actual-
world
yeah,
is at any
yeah.
given time.
Yeah, because then they won't want each other fighting
Yeah.
necessarily, because you don't want your guy to lose. Anyway, yeah.
And that's pretty much what's happening here. And this is
Right.
also like a very far away world. You know what I mean? This isn't the world we live in, where we know who wins the fight in Uzbekistan.
Ah, yes.
Nobody knows
Right,
anything, right? Like you don't know what happened fucking 12 miles away.
Yeah, so true.
Like I met a man once who was born in the 20s in New Brunswick, where I'm from, which even people in Canada know where the fuck the places I'm talking about are. But
he's not wrong.
he grew up he lived in a town called Sussex. And Sussex is about 45 minutes from my hometown of St. John and 45 minutes from the other biggest city in the province, Moncton.
Right.
And he told me, he was in his 70s, maybe 80s. And he told me, well, I've been to St. John, but I've never been to Moncton. It was a 45-minute car ride.
His whole life.
Just never needed. There was never any reason to. The farm's here in Sussex, and the feed store was in St. John. Or I don't. He probably went for like, my honeymoon. You know what I mean? Like this is a whole different world than what we grew up in.
Yeah.
So the idea
that's a very
that
good
you
point.
got 130 men from all over Europe and maybe like the Middle East or the Western Asia.
Yeah.
Turkey, like places like
Probably
that.
as far-
Russia,
yeah,
which
yeah,
is
yeah,
Asia, right?
yeah.
That's you can be world champ.
I think
That's fine. You're world champ now. He's kind of like he's a traveling world champion. In the sense that he's going around the world to wrestle, which is the way it should be, but it's not always the way it was. Especially the idea that like, okay, it's tournament based.
Yeah.
That's how you get it, right? So like the idea that like, well, I'm gonna go defend my title and my honor and build my prestige, build my brand, my reputation around the world is a pretty like it's pretty adventurous and it's pretty like
Badass.
badass. It's definitely badass. He's got a lot of initiative. He's got a lot of drive.
Yeah.
He's got a lot of forethought. He's kind of ahead of his time. He's going to England where he picks up like catch wrestling techniques,
Yeah.
which he starts to really favor catch wrestling eventually, which most people do if they can.
Because it's the best.
Because it's the best, and because there's so many ways to win,
Yeah.
right? Like there's like once you start to learn how to roll joints and shit, you've got a lot of advantages against people that maybe they just knew throws, especially if your reach is always less than theirs, right?
Right.
So if you can get a hold of them, get them down, put them in a toe hold, then you can flip them over for a pinfall real quick.
Yeah.
Where it used to just be like, well, I got to get this dude who's 65 fucking pounds bigger than me, and I got to pick him up and throw him.
Greco's all upper body.
Yeah, Greco is a throw game, right?
Yeah. They don't attack the legs in the same way.
So he's picking up catch techniques in England, and he's like he makes wrestling huge in England. It's kind of hard to explain for a lot of people like how big of a star George Hackenschmidt becomes, particularly in the UK.
Why in the UK in particular?
I
Just
think
they love the wrestling so
because
much.
UK has like a strong wrestling tradition, and I just don't think they'd ever seen anybody like this guy. Like he's just a freak, and he's a good marketer. He's
It seems like he seems to be kind of breaking the mold in terms of just the what we think of now as like the meathead. He seems to kind of be quite diverse.
He's
cutting different angles.
He's a gentleman.
You're right.
He's an educated. I mean, we'll get into like he wrote several books. You know what I mean? A lot of tracks on philosophy. He's he's kind of like an old world gentleman.
Renaissance kind of dude.
Yeah, kind of a Renaissance guy. A Renaissance guy, that's what they call it. You know, Leonardo da Vinci.
Renaissance man?
Renaissance guy.
Still, if you ever see that movie Renaissance Man with Danny DeVito, fuck does that movie hold up? So fucking
Well,
good. Anyway.
my homeboy Danny's in
Yeah,
it.
it's so good.
So I don't remember his. He has a manager for a brief period of time who's just like the greatest theater producer in the history of like London's West End. So he's got the tools in the team to make a star out of him.
And it seems like he's had this from the beginning, right? Like he's
Yeah,
a teenager when so he kind of gets plucked. It's like, oh, you're
Yeah.
coming with us, and
He's like Justin Bieber if you respected him. You know what I mean?
respect
Like it's
Justin
like
Bieber.
someone just came and said like,
holy shit.
do you want everything in the world, but you have to work really, really hard.
There you go.
All right, here you go. Except for he didn't like fuck it up. The poor kid, though, to be fair. The poor kid didn't stand a chance. If you were 12 years
zero
old,
chance,
right,
zero
an
chance.
usher comes to your house and he says, hey, you want all the money, pussy, and drugs you can handle for the rest of your life? What are you going to do? You're going to say, would you like to play some Xbox, Usher?
Yes, sir.
Yes, I would love to.
Some of us said yes without Usher.
That's what I'm saying. We didn't even have that.
I did it
we didn't
for
have that
free.
excuse.
I did it for free.
No, I paid a lot of money.
I didn't. I just showed up at the right time.
Fair.
So he's traveling the world, defending his title, doing these demonstrations. He's selling out theaters. He's becoming a global superstar
For his time.
for his time, which is quite unprecedented. That's something like, maybe a few actresses and a few singers are like this. And you've got to think like organized sports, like team sports, barely exist.
Yeah.
Barely. Like there's
Because even baseball, what was that like early?
baseball's
early 20th
like baseball's happening, football's
Yeah.
happening,
Yeah,
but
they're
they're
there's
not
no,
huge business
Yeah,
yet.
yeah.
Like football is just like a college sport, basically. You know what I mean? Hockey isn't a thing.
Yeah.
Football is a thing, but no football player is the star that a boxer or a wrestler is.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And Hackenschmidt is just completely reinvigorating interest in wrestling on a global scale. To the point where, like, they say he wrestles 3,000 matches, which sounds insane because it's insane. There's no way. There's no way he wrestled 3,000 matches. If you do that, that's like the Gene Simmons, like, oh, I slept with 10,000 women. Like,
just
let me do the math for a minute here. No, you
yeah.
didn't.
No, yeah.
Unless you had 20 watching in the corner every time. You know what I mean? Wilt Chamberlain might have.
Yeah.
I just wouldn't argue with Wilt.
Agreed.
So he's the biggest star like in the world athlete. And he comes to the United States looking to challenge Tom Jenkins for the American heavyweight championship.
Their world
Yeah.
title, yes.
And he hates the entire experience, right? And Tom Jenkins is a legit wrestler, badass, right? He's at the time, I think he's like a 3-time American champion. He's beaten Farmer Burns. He's beaten Frank Gotch, Dan McLeod. He's beaten all these cats. But this is America, and there's American promoters.
Yeah.
And they're trying to put the work in, you know, and they want to have works. They want to like, and Hack is very vocal in newspapers back in the UK, just being like, yeah, I don't like the way they do business. Tom Jenkins is a hell of a competitor, but everyone around him is trying to swindle anyone they can, right?
Right.
There's a quote. One thing that I could not understand about America is the faking methods of some of the wrestlers. Wherever I went to seek a match, I was confronted by a lot of schemers who made all sorts of unsportsmanlike propositions to me.
But listen to the way the guy speaks. That is eloquent.
Eloquent. And this is a quote from a man who, like, English ain't his first language.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
What is third, fourth? Something
Yeah,
like that?
I think he speaks 7 languages in total.
Jesus fuck.
Yeah, he's a Renaissance guy. You
That's
know?
it from now on. I want that tattoo now.
Renaissance guy.
T-shirt for sure.
That sounds like a real hack comedian stand-up, like, special name.
The Renaissance
guy. Tim Heidecker. I love you, Tim Heidecker. You're not a hack. So they end up they have a match at the old Madison Square Garden,
Okay.
which is not the one they have now. Which goes very much in Hacken. He beats Jenkins in 2 straight, which is like to beat a guy like Jenkins in 2 straight. Only a handful of humans could have done that at any point, right? And they get like a real respect for each other, and like after they retire, they visit each other because
That's cool. I
Jenkins
love it
and
when that happens, man.
it's kind of like Inoki Ali,
Yeah.
except for like I bet this was a pretty good fight.
But I love it when like someone beats, like Rampage was huge, or there's been a few times where like a competitor, 2 guys fight or 2 women fight, and then they go and they train with the person who beat them, and I'm like, I think that's one of the coolest things ever.
It's like it's humble and it's like true sportsmanship,
Yeah.
right? Where it's like, well, I can get better.
Yeah. And then they help each other
I
out,
would like to
man,
get better,
and
please.
and
Show me what you know.
It's
like
so
the
cool.
Bruce Lee thing, right?
Yeah.
Like Bruce Lee would, if he ever, like when he got kind of embarrassed by Gene LaBelle,
Yeah, he's like, oh, well, I guess I need some
he started
fucking
training
ground
with Gene
game.
LaBelle
Yeah.
and introduced a lot of those techniques into his style. So, and Tom Jenkins like ends up like teaching grappling at West Point,
Oh, shit.
teaching hand-to-hand combat to soldiers and stuff for the First World War. Like he's a bad motherfucker. And this is kind of one of those things where some people say this is the beginning of the World Heavyweight Championship proper lineage,
Okay.
right?
It stems back to this.
This would be
origin.
where you could finally call him a world champion,
Okay.
because he beat the American champion, and he was clearly the champion of Europe. And according to the Western world, those are the only 2 places on Earth.
And how could they be wrong?
Yeah.
South America
Yeah.
doesn't exist.
I guess, you know, South America, Africa, Asia that's not Russia, right out. Australia, fucking it's just a bush. It's just a bush full of spiders.
Anyway.
I would say it is perhaps more relevant to say that the Gotch Hackenschmidt fight match is maybe, I think, a better place to put the world championship.
To draw that line.
Yeah. But then again, who the fuck am I?
A good friend of mine.
Oh, thanks, bud. So Hackenschmidt is the undeniable man in wrestling now, and he continues to be until 1908, when he returns to America to fight the greatest American wrestler of all time, Frank Gotch. who Gotch challenged Hackenschmidt after he beat Jenkins.
Oh, interesting.
And Hackenschmidt was like, no, thank you, and went back to Europe. Which I think, like, it's one of those things where, like, that's a great opportunity for Frank Gotch to go to the press and be like, oh, this guy's a coward, he doesn't want to fight me. Which is exactly what you should do as a fighter.
Obviously.
In that situation. 100%, that's the thing to do.
How could you do anything else?
110%. But there's also a very good chance that actually was like, I hate dealing with these Americans.
Yeah.
I got the fight I wanted. I won. I'm leaving. I'm going back to where people aren't going to try to screw with me everywhere I go.
Yeah.
But I kind of look at this as like, every time I read or think or watch anything about the Gotch Hackenschmidt fight and the lead up to it and the whole kind of scenario in itself, which we won't get too into because we're gonna do that on its own. But it always kind of reminds me of have you ever seen Talladega Nights?
One of my favorite comedies of all time.
Yeah, it's like kind of like the European gentleman, the sophisticated European champion comes over. It's like, you're the only man who can beat me, Ricky Bobby. Like, you know what I mean? Like it's like he's coming to America. Just praying to be retired,
right?
You know what I mean?
In that way,
in that way, which is, I think, kind of. But I feel like in that Talladega Nights way, it's like that's not saying he's coming over to throw the fight.
No, but
he's like, this might be the guy who can finally,
you know,
take the crown off my head and let me go read my books, please.
Heavy as a crown.
So we're gonna skip over the fight.
Okay.
The two matches that Gotch and Hackenschmidt have that are the most important matches in the history of wrestling. Not Hogan Andre, if you can believe it. And we're going to talk about Hackenschmidt, the man outside of wrestling.
Fascinating.
Who should be doing Dos Equis commercials.
You
know, even though you look the part. Hackenschmidt is like a total Renaissance guy. He speaks 7 languages. He's like in the like as his fame grows, he starts becoming like acquainted with and like even becoming good friends with some of the most important people in the world at that time. He's friends with Harry Houdini. Jesus. He's friends with George Bernard Shaw, who is like one of the great philosophers of the 20th century, one of the great playwrights. He wrote Pygmalion.
Yeah, that's right.
You know, what's the movie name of that they changed it to? With Eliza Doolittle. Oh, whatever.
I know what you're talking.
He's an important fella, this George Bernard Shaw.
Yeah.
At one point, Teddy Roosevelt, who is the active president of the United States, is asked by an interviewer what he would do or who he would be if he wasn't the president. And he said, if I could be anyone else on earth, I'd be George Hackenschmidt. Right?
Damn.
Because this guy, and also Tony Roosevelt's like a huge like physical culturist.
Oh yeah, and this is saying this is Teddy Roosevelt,
and like a total piece of shit, but a man's man. You can be both.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, it often is the case.
It is too often the case.
And he's also himself writing books on physical culture, on diet. He's reinventing weightlifting. You know what I mean? His diet is insane. He's like, there's a lot of rumors that he actually like. There's one thing that says like, oh, he drinks 11 pints of milk a day, and then he came out and he was like, no, I don't. No, I don't. I drink a lot of milk.
Yeah.
I eat a lot of rump steak.
Right.
I eat a lot of vegetables. But I'm not drinking 11 pints of milk a day. But he's he doesn't drink. He doesn't smoke. He
no drugs.
No, he doesn't drink coffee.
Wow.
He's
no
a
caffeine.
very like obsessive clean liver. I would say like touch of the Asperger's on this cat, right? Very obsessive about his diet, about his training. At one point, he sets a record. This is one of those great like. You know, if you go through a book of Guinness World Records, and you're like, sorry. Why is this here?
Yeah, you're like, why is this important?
Why? Like I think like Darby Allin, the pro wrestler, just climbed Mount Everest, and he did a kickflip. He brought his skateboard all the way up fucking Mount Everest to do a kickflip up there so that he could get the world record for a highest elevation kickflip, which is like, why, man?
Why is that in the
When is it enough? You climb Mount Everest, okay? So at one point, he holds the world record for like he ties his legs together at the ankle and jumps over a chair or a table 100 times,
Right.
which
Just
is
these-
an insane thing to do. It's insane. Like that would take so much strength, concentration, stamina, endurance, athletic ability. Also, why the fuck would you do that?
would you do that's the
Why
biggest
would you do
question.
that?
Why would you do that?
I've done a lot of stupid shit in my time.
But
That
not-
is pointless.
Yeah.
And then he starts. So he retires, in 1910, I believe, 1911,
From wrestling.
from wrestling.
And got
And then-
competition and all that kind of stuff.
All that stuff.
Okay, yeah.
He goes vegetarian
Right.
at that point because he's like, well, I don't need to drink milk and eat rump steak anymore.
Right.
I'm just gonna eat clean, raw vegetables. And then goes on to continue living one of the most interesting lives you could possibly imagine. In World War I, he's interned at a POW camp by British authorities because they assume he's a spy. Because anyone that interesting back then was a spy,
Of course.
right? Like that was.
You speak 7 languages. You're
Yeah.
obviously a spy.
Yeah, like, do you travel?
Spy.
Do you run in circles with interesting people?
Spy.
You're a spy. And like, as much as internment camps are pretty awful, I'd probably be like, I think this guy's a fucking spy. I'd probably be like, he'd be the one. Oh, you mean the Ubermunch down the street who lifts up horses and hangs out with George Bernard Shaw and is friends
that
with the
guy.
Tsar's doctor? Yeah, no. Lock him up.
Yeah.
Get
yeah,
him.
Yeah.
No letters for him. Read the letters. For what it's worth, I will say his writings are extremely contradictory, which all humans are.
What do you mean?
Like his philosophical opinions and stuff like that. A lot of contradictions. He flip flops and stuff. But I would say, and I like to make this clear whenever we talk about anything that could lean in this direction, I do not believe George Hackenschmidt had any like fascist leanings.
Sure.
He seemed to be quite anti-fascist in his writings later in life. He was also pretty anti-communist. Sometimes he was a little anti-capitalist.
Yeah.
And you know what? I think it's very safe and fair to be suspicious of all.
Fair.
And he also never returns to live in the Soviet Union or Germany, let alone Nazi Germany, for the rest of his life.
Damn,
Because
so
I don't think he was particularly interested in the authoritarian governments of these places that would occur and develop. Even though he would have been like, if you think about like all the great like wrestlers of the late 20th century, they all ended up in like Putin's cabinet. These are the kind of dudes that these authoritarian strongmen want around.
Yeah.
Although
they have that image.
they have that image. Although it is safe to say also that like generally like intellectuals get purged, right? Even if you have hero intellectuals, someone that you can
'cause they're
put
too
on
risky.
a propaganda poster.
Yeah.
If you've got your own fucking mind,
Let's do that.
you're not going to fit in with the authoritarian regime, right?
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
but he probably would have had a pretty good couple years. He ends up teaching physical education to the British House of Lords. He's a huge star. Like, he's a
That's
very
fascinating.
important guy. He moves to the south of France during World War II. Comes back to England in the late 40s. And he dies there at 90 in 1968. He lives to be 90
Which at that time
years
people
old.
just don't fucking do.
Yeah, not only in that time, 90 is like, you might as well be fucking Methuselah, dude.
Yeah.
Like, you're old as the hills.
Seriously.
And you're a man who, like, just kind of just got beat up for 15 years. That was your whole life, was, like, torturing your body.
Yeah.
And, yeah, after 90 years of being, ground to paste, he finally kicks the bucket. In England, 1968, 90 years old, a huge star. Like, if someone ever did any, like, it was not unusual to be reading a newspaper and someone be referred to as a Hackenschmidt of something. He's the Hackenschmidt
like-
of horse racing.
Right. He turned into a verb.
Yeah,
He was
like
that,
he's
okay.
he's the Michael Jordan before Michael Jordan.
Right.
Yeah, instead of saying like, well, I'm the Michael Jordan of fucking getting fired.
Yeah.
I'm the Hackenschmidt of getting fired.
You are pretty good at getting fired.
I've only been fired twice.
Me too. Same reason both times.
For being an asshole both times.
Yeah.
Um,
Drinking on the job.
Never been. Oh yeah, I have. And he's still got this like a few years ago it became like a very popular thing for people in the fitness world to like revert back to Hackenschmidt training.
Oh wow! Like go back to the roots.
Yeah, it was like, well, I just started training like George Hackenschmidt, and now I'm strong as a fucking ox, right? He's got this legacy that lives to this day. He's like the Arnold Schwarzenegger
Yeah.
of the first age of bodybuilding.
Weightlifting and bodybuilding. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I think he gave out the Mr. Olympia prize
Jesus.
like at least once.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He's the main judge. He's the guy because
He set the bar.
he's the Jelly Roll Morton of weightlifting.
Sorry, the what?
The first guy credited with jazz.
Ah.
He's the Robert Johnson of weightlifting. He's the
You know,
Paul McCartney of weightlifting. He's the Elvis, the Chuck Berry. Getting carried away.
he loves music.
I love tunes, man. I love tunes.
He's a good musician.
Yeah, like him and Eugene Sandow are kind of like the initial big time world famous strongmen, world famous weightlifters. The biggest influences on weightlifting till Schwarzenegger.
I do listen to your EP all the time. Comes down to the gym all the time.
Oh,
Yeah, and was like, oh yeah,
that's
like,
terrible. That's terrible fight music.
Yeah, it shows good more for the warm up.
Real sad.
It's awesome. I love that music.
He's one of those first kind of health nut dietitian guys.
That's crazy.
He's probably like the most influential guy in the diet world until like Dick Gregory in the 70s. You know what I mean? Who introduced water to the American diet.
It's great. That's an actual thing.
Yeah. I'm sure not like a great time at a party. Unless you're George Bernard Shaw and you want to just sit there and talk philosophy with a dude.
In French or something
Yeah,
like that.
yeah. Like, unless the party's somewhere I've never been welcome. He's probably not a great time. He's not coming to my party.
Yeah, right.
You know what I mean? And he's prone to depression, as most people who are extremely introspective are. And is sometimes criticized for like not having a lot of heart.
As in just a little robotic about it, like just too logical, like a little too Spock-like.
That's not what I meant, but yes.
Okay.
Yeah, that too.
That too.
Definitely like obsessive self-control, attention to detail. That's how they used to say it before we were all on the spectrum.
Right.
But I think like he's not game all the time. Sometimes he's a little bit of an Eeyore.
Oh,
You know,
okay,
he's just
okay.
like,
A little
fine.
confronting a little sometimes.
Yeah,
okay.
like he would lose heart. He would lose gameness every now and then. But he was also just like such an incredible specimen. He didn't even need it. You know
Yeah.
that whole like, well, it's the dog in the fight who wants it more. It's
Yeah,
like,
no,
not with him.
Not
though.
with him.
It's kind of like when you see a bully that like isn't a coward, with like the scariest type of person, like a masochistic.
They'll fuck you up
Or
and
a
they'll
sadist
enjoy it. Yeah.
bully. Like, oh, if you stand up to him, actually, it's going to be worse. Don't.
Yeah, it's
Just let him hit you in the arm, because if you hit him back, he's going to hit you in the face. You know? And he's got like a lot of he's obsessed with like perseverance and hardship and learning from hardship. He writes like Man and Cosmic Antagonism to Mind and Spirit, which is like kind of pseudo stoic stuff, and it is the kind of stuff that like all these asshole grifters, like the Andrew Tates of the world, try to sell to young men now. This bullshit stoicism, where it's
Did you say stoicism?
stoicism.
Okay.
I'm thinking of Elvis Stoico.
Stoico, right?
Yeah,
Is that-
world famous figure skater. You know Elvis Stoico, right?
I love stoicism.
Figure skating a big deal in England.
Yeah.
We had Torval and Dean. They were like a big duo.
Okay,
Yeah, they're actually really famous. Torval and Dean. Yeah.
that's such a fucking English series of name. To like,
Seriously?
it sounds like a sketch comedy duo. We've got Laurel and Hardy. We've got a little bit of Fry and Laurie and Torval and Dean.
I'm gonna have to look it up because
The two
now-
Ronnies.
He's now convinced me it's a comedy group, and
She's second
No, it's
guessing
not.
himself.
Okay, all right, all right.
I'm not crazy.
All right, well, that has nothing to do with catch wrestling. But yeah, he's kind of one of those, like, perseverance, learn from hardship, struggle, kind of.
So things have to be hard. He's he's like the David Goggins where, you know, like I will persevere, but everything kind of has to be hard.
Yeah, which is like the raw, unedited version of the bullshit that is sold to people now. But also, it's kind of like you can't argue with him because like hard work paid off for him. But also, kind of seems like you had a lot of real good breaks in your life there, Mr. Schmidt.
A couple legs up there, a couple times.
Yeah, you might have ran into the right people a couple of times.
Yeah.
So maybe kids, when things are hard, they're just really fucking hard. You know?
And most people that have made it have had some
Yeah.
help, some opportunity.
They got some lucky break. They knew someone.
You
You know? And also, like, the whole what doesn't kill you makes you stronger thing. Well, I've seen the nearly killed, and that just couldn't be more wronger.
Yeah.
You know?
I think that if that was true, we wouldn't have the suicide rate that we do.
Yeah. Don't do it. Don't listen to that Judas Priest record backwards.
It'll never be the same.
So he's kind of like a pre-Hogan. He's this huge star who is kind of eclipsed by Gotch, but that's only because like wrestling becomes such an American thing.
Right.
You know what I mean? Where someone like Karl Gotch takes Frank Gotch's name to keep the name alive. Back in the day, dozens of wrestlers went by like Young Gotch.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right,
Who
right,
weren't
right.
a Gotch.
Yeah.
But they wanted to get some of that rub. Whereas like Hackenschmidt kind of peels off in that way. And I think a lot of it has to do because of like that kind of 27 Club shit where it's like he didn't the better to burn out and fade away. He lived a long life full of accomplishment and interest.
Right.
So he kind of faded away in a dignified manner.
Yeah, because
from the consciousness.
Yeah, if it's not super catchy or headlining, then we just stop hearing about it.
How big would Nirvana be if Kurt Cobain was still alive?
Yeah.
And how much bad Foo Fighters would we not have had to listen to? We'd still be listening to good Nirvana. Fuck, it'd be awesome.
I knew you had his shit on. What's his
Dave Grohl is
Dave
just,
Grohl, yeah.
You know what? Hell of a talent. Seems like a real nice dude.
Really heard he's a bit of a dick.
Just because he liked to, you know.
Anyway, anyone that talented, it's hard. It's hard.
I'm sure he's got an ego.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
You not.
He goes over to Paul McCartney's house and fucking plays guitar with him and shit. I'd have an ego. I've got a huge ego. I've accomplished
As it is.
nothing. I've done nothing with my life, and I've got a huge ego.
You can tell that me and Blake are not disagreeing with the statement.
No. This is Jimmy.
What did I say?
You call me Blake.
Fuck, I still... Why?
That's
just the two of you. What the fuck?
You couldn't get enough. One wasn't enough. You needed two.
No, but I switched the two of you. I don't know. I don't even...
Well, we're so similar.
I switched the two of you all the time.
We look so much alike.
Just the giant ginger.
Yeah, the giant ginger and little Rasputin.
The little R.
Matching tights, Jimmy.
Love it. We have to do that at some point. As Halloween or something like that, we gotta get you guys together.
I think my wearing tights days are over, my friend.
No. That is categorically untrue, sir.
I'm gonna have to do some serious hack squats for that one. But yeah, George Hackenschmidt lived life like a fucking Bond movie, like a Forrest Gump. You know what I mean?
Legit.
He lived in several empires, was party to several watershed moments in 20th century history, survived 2 world wars. He's friends with the greatest figures and brightest minds of his generation. He's loved by, presidents.
Presidents want to be him.
He's teaching the House of Lords how to defend themselves from the unruly plebs. I'm sure sure he had a pretty good time. with the young ladies.
I'm sure they were throwing them through his window.
Yeah, he's basically the real version of all the fucking losers these kids are watching on YouTube today.
Right.
And he never once had to resort to human trafficking or fucking people over for money. He just like separated some shoulders.
Right.
And made all the fucking money.
Yeah.
You know?
People do a lot of this.
And a lot before tapping, just squeal. He made a lot of people squeal.
They didn't even, that's right. They didn't even tap the back then.
Yeah. You had to say it with your words. I quit. I've had enough.
Yeah.
And I think George Hackenschmidt's one of the most interesting cats that ever lived. And like a truly, I'm sure there's lots of. I don't think we would have gotten along.
Yeah.
You know, he probably would have found me absolutely detestable. But I admire the guy in a way that I don't admire a lot of figures that we talk about on this podcast.
Yeah, when you try to say Blake and admire, that is a difficult thing
I admire plenty of people, at least 10. At least 10.
At least 10. Because
at least 10. I'll make a list.
Yeah.
That's George Hackenschmidt.
Cool.
And up next,
Mr.
we're going to move on to his greatest adversary, the greatest American wrestler that ever lived, Frank Gotch. Thanks, gang.
See you soon.